Hello and welcome to the Overly Animated Podcast, where we take animation seriously. We talk everything animation here, including Mysticons, which we're getting into right now. I'm Dylan Hysen, and today I'm joined by April Collins.
Hello!
Today, April and I are talking Mysticons episode 35, Heart of Stone, that aired yesterday on Nicktoons, and Mysticons' new time slot of 9:30 a.m. Saturdays on Nicktoons. And there's actually a promo, which Mysticons was included, about Nicktoons' new Saturday lineup while we were watching. And so
I'm glad we could get that in, at the end of the...
Finally, right when it's too late, we were advertising this show. Yeah, that's great.
Perfect.
Yeah, this is good timing, Nick. But Nick, this episode's still not on Nick.com's website. Nick, if you are listening, which you're not, please put the episodes up. Anyway, we're talking Heart of Stone. Make sure you've seen this episode. Spoilers for this and all previous episodes of Mysticons. We talk Mysticons every week that is new here on the Overly Animated Podcast. Find us at overlyanimated.com or search for Mysticons on iTunes or on our YouTube channel at overlyanimated.com/YouTube to not miss any of our future Mysticons podcasts. So let's get into Heart of Stone. April, what did you think of this episode?
So, I don't know why, but I thought I was gonna not enjoy this episode. I don't know what it was, but I actually really loved it. It had a lot of really good, moments, and I think, there was a lot of one-liners that I was just like, oh my goodness, I can't believe we said that kind of stuff. But, first off, Diva is still bad, so sad face emoji.
Yeah.
But I was really disappointed with that, and because I was like, yes, this is gonna be the thing that we're doing, we're turning all of the Vexicons into good people, but apparently not. And Eartha is a gem, and I chose that word appropriately, I think. Because she's just great, but then at the same time, and then M is also amazing. It makes me sad because M's my favorite character, but I also wish that we could have episodes like this for Piper, but it doesn't matter because M is so sweet and innocent, and she just wants everyone to be good, and that's all I want for her. And we got Tasma, some more Tasma. Love me some Tasma. And I think this whole mess could have been avoided at the end if M's brothers just didn't exist. But
wow, shots fired at M's brothers.
Well, okay, they were obviously her parents have some Gollum issues they need to work out because they're Gallists, or I don't know what.
Gallists.
I came up with that instead of calling them racist. Okay. I figured Gallist was better. But because, they don't like golems, right?
Yeah, we'll talk extensively about that. But yeah.
So yeah.
The brothers tell and they gather the angry mob, and yeah, that's how the day is ruined.
That is how the day is ruined. So thanks a lot, M's brothers. I don't even remember your names because that's how little you mean to me right now.
Wow. Yeah, I don't think they say their names this episode, but
no.
Yeah. Okay, so you enjoyed it?
It was a good episode, in my opinion.
Yeah. I think this is a very good episode of the show. It's really solid. It's this nice self-contained story. I really like episodes like this that are very focused, and it has a lot of thematic depth to it. With the prejudice with relation to your parents, that was, I feel a pretty deep theme to cover here. And there's a lot of great comedic moments, especially with Tasma once again. And it's great to go back to M's hometown, and I think we got a lot of great scenes there. The climax in the Dwarven Mill. I think that was a wonderful, I think, new location. It was a gorgeous background. And yeah, it's just a really solid episode. I think from an overall perspective of the show, it's frustrating because we want it to end with Eartha good. We want something happening here.
Right.
This is the 6th to last episode of the show. I want some progress. And for Eartha not to be good at the end. Although, I think on first viewing, when I was watching it live, I was very, very frustrated with the ending because it's not, obvious what's happening. It's okay, Eartha's bad. But then there's a little bit of depth to it. She's her heart's glowing gold. There's some, thematic connection to M having an effect on her, although it's really not clear what type of effect that is.
Yeah, I was really confused with that, too.
Yeah, but it's like I think that's why it's frustrating. But on the other hand, it is really well done. Like the music is really different in that scene, and the glowing and going from Eartha to M. I think it really comes together well. Even if it doesn't necessarily mean anything to us story wise, what's happening there, like it thematically, I think it really resonates. So yeah, it's I was a little frustrated first viewing, but when I delved into it more, it is just a really, really solid episode. And I do think it's one of the better M episodes we've gotten in a long time. Like, I think this is maybe the best since season 1 for M.
I think it is too. Like, I thought this was a great episode for M, especially like, I don't know, like there's a lot of really good moments for her throughout the episode. Like her, you know, like even in the beginning, like with her and Eartha like fighting, or, you know, during that opening action sequence and everything like that, like she has like her humorous parts where she's just like, yeah, like I'm doing the night voice again kind of thing, which is just adorable. But then like all the way through, like with her kind of, I guess, standing up to her parents and sort of approaching that topic. And then even at the end where she's like, I don't know, like if we can ever like make people be good, like if maybe there's just some people who there isn't good inside of them. And then they're like, oh no, like we really do think you had like you changed her just a little bit, even if it's a little bit, you know, like I like good. It's kind of heartwarming in that sense. So.
Yeah, I think the last minute or two was very well done. With also Piper is burping in the last 2 minutes, but that's fine.
Yes,
and we needed to get that in there clearly. But yeah, it I do think it comes together well. Like I guess I have some issues with how this like prejudice plotline is presented. I think that's the main thing I want to get into because that's like the thematic depth of the episode is we're having the classic fantasy discrimination prejudice thing going on with like, oh, humans hate elves. In this case it's dwarves apparently hate golems. And I think, like, on one hand, it's obviously realistic that in a fantasy world there would be similar, like, types of prejudice against groups from other groups, that this would exist. Like, I'm not saying it's not realistic, but I think for me, with these plot lines, the issue is always that we're human, so we parallel it to our world. So when I see, like, dwarves hating dwarves being racist against golems, I think, like, how does this relate to racism in our world? And I think that's tricky because they're not attempting to make a direct parallel here, but I think it is inevitable. Like, for me, like, you can't just make this prejudice plotline. And this is not just Mysticons. This is like tons of fantasy, like RPGs and like every JRPG has this and all fantasy shows and stuff. They have these discrimination plotlines and like they want to like make it separate, like not have it be a parallel to racism in the United States, but like it is. You can't. I feel like you can't do this. At least for me watching it, I can't not connect it.
Well, and the other thing I guess that's kind of bothersome about it too is it's almost like there's a trope with like like touching on these like prejudices and things like that, and it's usually that like, oh, it's the kid trying to change the parents' mind kind of thing, and like the parents are just like overtly prejudiced against whatever group, and then like somehow in the end, like it's not even resolved necessarily in the end. They're just like, oh well, we're gonna help Eartha out because because maybe she's not so bad. But even then, like, it's not like one of those things where like, oh yeah, like our mind has changed, or, you know, like it's like overtly that. And if they did say that at the end, I didn't catch it, which is kind of even more sad if you think about it, because like that's the whole like thing that we're touching on in this like episode. Not so much that we're just you know, trying to make Eartha good, but we're addressing this like prejudice, you know, within a group of people. But it's like, even in the end of it, it's not necessarily resolved.
I see. I like that, I guess. That's the part that worked for me with the parents. The parents, I think, is the best part of the episode, at least thematically, because I think it was really deep that we got into M is, my parents raised me to be tolerant, and then they're still like these racist jerks. Like that's like super realistic.
That's like, it's realistic, but at the same time, like it's still a little bit like tropey. And I guess like it makes sense considering like it, you know, not necessarily that this is a kid show, but it's always one of those things where like our generation wants to be better than our parents. And so it's like, well, look, here are more parents who are being like terrible people. And so you got to be tolerant and do all of these things. I'm not saying there's anything wrong with it. It just seems like it's just a trope that I just keep like picking out of other places, and it's like, okay, so we have the kids who are trying to make a difference, but then the parents are so like backwards, if that makes sense. Okay.
Yeah, I think it's a good point that this has definitely been done before with the kid is not racist and the parents are racist. I would argue that the wrinkle that this episode brings that I haven't necessarily seen presented, or at least presented as well as was presented in Heart of Stone, is that like and was like, oh, my parents are different, and like they like are supposed to be like they're not like this this just like overtly racist, more so or an equivalent to the rest of their peoples. Like they're supposed to be like the tolerant ones. And yet, it's also clear that they still have that discrimination within them.
Yeah. I mean, at least they make, like, I guess they make attempts, because what is it, like, after dinner, they even, like, try and go and talk to Em about it, and they're like, hey, like, we don't want, like, we're trying kind of thing, but then, like, it's almost like they take a step backwards whenever Em's brothers are like, yeah, they had, like, a diamond sword for a hand and everything like that, and then Em's mom immediately is like, everyone get your hammers, like, and she's like rallying the troops to like start this mob. But I think, at least like in that sense that it's nice that Em's parents are making an effort, even though they do take kind of like 2 steps back at one point.
Yeah, I find all that just super realistic of how it works in our world. Like, these are people who think they have these progressive beliefs that they're like accepting of golems. They try to teach that to their daughter. They say, we're not going to like have our daughter be this prejudiced person. But then at their core, they still are, and that comes out, even though they make outward attempts, like actively. But when push comes to shove, they really still are just these prejudiced people underneath. I felt like that was really well presented by the episode. You're right. That scene of them going downstairs, and telling Em that after at dinner, they're like, oh, but yeah, Gollum's bad. Then they're like, oh, we wanted to make sure you didn't, think we hated Gollums. And then I feel like the best presentation of this was, in the climax, where Em is, where like so Eartha saves them or whatever, or this is before Eartha saves the brothers, and Em says, or Em's mom says, she's a golem and a Vexicon, she'll never be good, and Em says, I don't believe that, and that's not what you raised me to believe either.
I thought that was a really good like moment, I guess.
Yeah. I think it's like the best part of the episode is that, yeah, and I think that's just a great encapsulation of this tricky thing that we're trying to present. And I feel like Mysticons, maybe the biggest criticism I've had against the show is that, at various points we haven't necessarily had enough depth. We haven't like attempted deep enough things narratively, thematically. This is definitely an instance of us attempting and succeeding at something with a lot of thematic depth to it.
Yeah, I agree with that. Like they touched it, and they touched it like very well. Like, and I think that's another reason why like I really enjoyed this episode, was because we did have that like depth that we've kind of may have been lacking, and at least in recent episodes too. So I guess I could really appreciate the fact that like we were able to touch on something that's kind of a hot topic like in the US, and then like sort of bring it together nicely.
Yeah. So that was the good part. Here's the bad part, I feel like, of this, at least for me. Here's my take. I said before that how I can't help but connect this to racism in our world. This didn't succeed in me because Eartha is evil. Like, I feel like this is the big flaw with this episode. Eartha is literally made to be evil. So if we're trying to show how, like a group of people is not evil, the only golem we've ever seen on this show is literally evil.
He is literally, yeah, no, I think that's like a point that sort of falls flat too, because she is an evil character, and it's not because she's a golem that she's evil, it's because she was made that way. And so you're right, it doesn't look good whenever you like are touching on the topic of prejudice, and then like you're directly relating it to like an evil character. Like maybe it would have been different if it had been like someone else who wasn't evil, but no, I agree. That's kind of bothersome now that you've pointed it out.
I feel like it's really problematic that we're touching on dwarves being racist to golems, and then the only golem we've ever seen in the show is literally evil. Like we learned in this episode, we didn't know this before, that there are other golems out there, and presumably they are not evil. But
they're just trying to live their lives still.
Where are they? If we're going to get into this, we should have shown them here.
Yeah, I think that would have been better too, as if we had gotten into it outside of the Vexicons. Like, because, I mean, Eartha has, like, her good moments and everything like that, and I think that's maybe, like, what they're trying to say. They're like, oh yeah, even though she's evil, she's still nice, but, like, no, now I'm really bothered by it. Thanks, still.
Well, yeah, like, literally insert any of our real-world groups into these two categories of dwarves and evil golem, and it becomes horribly, like, problematic. Like, I'm not claiming that that's what the show is intending to do. It's clearly not. But, like, getting back to what I said, but I can't help relate this to prejudice in our world. Like, I feel like that's inevitable.
Yeah, no.
So that's, I guess, my biggest issue with that part. But I think there's enough there with the relation to parents thing that it does work. Yeah,
I agree with that. Enough there.
Enough there. Okay, let's talk M more. We've already been talking her a lot because, yeah, at the end we talked about the scene where M's like, I don't know, there's good in everyone. I don't know if I believe that anymore. Says M, and then no, you changed Eartha for the better. Zarya says, you've got a heart of gold, you little rock rat. Yeah. Instead of Rugrat, Rock Rat. And, then, we go to M, we go to Eartha, and yeah, she has this, like, glowing heart. So, yeah, well, I guess a lot of fans expected Eartha to become good here. The show's been very clear that Eartha is, like, the nice one of the Vexicons.
Yeah.
This has been, like, the most common fan theory, like, oh, Eartha's gonna be the first one to turn good. So I think you get a little bit disappointed at the end, but, what about M's connection to Eartha? Like, I feel like that's what's attempting to anchor the episode rather than, like, what side Eartha ends up on. I feel like we're like, that doesn't matter, but it's like M's connection here with her. Did you get a good sense of that, from the episode?
I did, especially because, I already talked about how, like, at the beginning they have the whole, like the exchange where even, like, Eartha, like, picks up her sword and hands it to her and says, knights fight fair. Like, because she's, like, there's that connection that they both feel like they're the knights of the group. And so, like, and then, like, they begin to, battle after that. But then, like, it's kind of like that nice connection throughout. And we've already seen, like, the parallels between Eartha and M, because that's who she's supposed to, or that's who Eartha is supposed to be. But M is so good that it makes sense that, Eartha would still have, like, that good in her. So I think it was a really good connection, especially with the heart, like, glowing gold, because the heart that they tried to put inside of her was also gold, whereas previously it was glowing that red evil color. So I thought that was a really nice connection that sort of tied it together, like, throughout the entire episode. And it's especially because it's like M's the one who's sticking up for Eartha the entire time too, where Zarya's like, let her turn into a pile of rubble. We don't care. She's the bad guy kind of situation where even like Arcana has a moment where she's like, no, like, we're the good guys. Like, we have to save her.
Yeah. I think this episode's the best encapsulation of M's empathy, which is, like, such a huge part of her character. And it's, like, conveyed through her empathy for Eartha. But it is something we've been seeing throughout the series. M always relates to whatever nonsense person is there. I feel like this is a common thing. And so, like, her being the one to, like, having a chance of getting through to someone who's literally made to be evil, I do think is pretty powerful. And it's also, like, that obviously that Eartha's supposed to be the mirror image of her when it's created like that, which I haven't really commented on. Like, isn't it weird, Proxima, that you made these people to be weird versions of us? Yeah, like,
don't get me started on Proxima, because
we'll talk about Proxima a little bit. We got a little bit of Proxima here, but yeah, I feel like whether it be in relation to her parents, and that's, like, a powerful component of the, like, overall thing that the board that we got added was that, she's one of these people who, ostensibly, raised to be tolerant, but still, it's has the prejudice of the previous generation, also influencing her as well, and coming from prejudices from throughout her people. And, that, I feel like that's a key component that we got added to her character, and it makes a lot of things click in, and how she's trying to be better. And, I think it really just feels, like this is the most depth we've gotten from Em in a while. I feel like we've struggled with, in, I guess, Pat, we had the one with her mom, a little bit ago. That was a good one too. But yeah, I got a great sense of this and relating to her and her, her heart of gold, her empathy. I think that really came together well.
I think so as well. I think it's also, it should be pointed out too, because if you had to say of the group, the main, I guess, characters would be Arcania and Zarya, but I always feel like we've gotten the most depth from Em. Her episodes always go deeper than anyone else's episodes. And so it's just, I feel, at the sacrifice of Piper, because we haven't gotten these kind of episodes for Piper, but I they're so deep and so good. I think most of Em, we've said throughout the entire series that Em episodes are always really strong. And so this episode just sort of continues that.
Yeah, that's definitely a sense we had in season 1 of the show early on, was that Emma's the character that popped, and her episodes really got there, especially episode 6, where we, see all of her hometown for the first time.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and this is, I think, getting us back to that point. So I think that really works. And yeah, I do think she has less of the spotlight since Zarya and Arcane have been the main focus. And her and Piper have sidelined a little bit, Piper especially, but hopefully more Piper next episode. We'll speculate on that at the end. All right, let's talk the plots of this episode, because we do actually have some sort of advancement here, even though it's a very bottle episode. We have these crystalline rods that we're charging in the Undercity in the beginning, and then at the end, Proxima uses them to make something. The symbol.
The symbol, yeah.
Yes, the Necropha symbol is back.
Is she I don't understand what we're doing. I wish we knew so bad, because okay, we understand that Proxima wants to destroy the Mysticons for quote unquote wronging her and making her believe that she was one of them. But what is she doing? So we have these crystalline rods, but what else has she been doing?
Is this what she's been up to? Because we don't really know what she's been up to. Yeah.
Well, we still don't know what she's up to, because she's got these rods and she's making the Necropha symbol. But why are we making the Necropha symbol? Are you trying to forge another mask? Are you what are you doing? Because this is the only advancement that we've seen of her doing something. But it's also it should be noted that she continues to talk about sisterhood and family and all of that things, which I guess having a family has always been her story, because she's the orphan and everything like that. But what and where are we trying to go with this? Because I think that's my biggest frustrations, is because we just don't know. And even now, it's okay, we have these crystalline rods, but why?
Yeah, at least in terms of Proxima's character arc, I think it's clear at this point that the main thing we're going for is that she made this family that she never had with the Vexicons, and that the main reason that she is still mad at the Mysticons is because she thought she had that family. But then she didn't really fit in like she thought she would. She thought that they betrayed her. And, that's her main motivation, is having people in her life, having the sense of family, the sense of sisterhood that she didn't get from the Mysticons. I think it's interesting that the show wasn't more overt with this before, I guess. It's
really been in the last 2 episodes where we're just yes, sisterhood and family. No, you don't ever leave family behind.
Yeah, the last episode was very blatant with it, but I think it worked less well just because that episode was so absurd.
Yes.
But I think it works way better here. Not as listen to our podcast, absurd in a good way. But I think that, when you do some absurdist humor, that maybe the themes don't, land as much, just because we don't take anything seriously. So why would we take that part seriously? But in this episode, it's the same thing in a more serious context. So I think it does land very well. Proxima's talking about how, the Mysticons did the same thing to me. They made me feel like I belong, but it's all lies. So yeah, that's her main thing. She's also very upset at, them for leaving Eartha because about sisterhood and like this is her family, so that's why she cares about all that. I'm glad it's clear what we're doing with Proxima. I think I still don't really care though.
I don't.
Yeah. Like, the thing that's exciting to me is not why Proxima is constructing whatever she is, but what she is constructing. Like, that's way more interesting to me, is in the context of the overall plot line of the show.
Yeah. I mean, it's so shrouded in mystery that, like, it's like, okay, you're, like, you know, almost, like, preaching these family values or whatever, but then at the same time, like, okay, what are we doing with that? You know, because I think that's so frustrating. It's just, it baffles me because we just don't know what she's doing. Where I feel like with any villain, you have a sense of like what they're trying to accomplish, but you know, she wants to have like this family unit, but she has it. So, you know, where are you going from here? Like, you want to have this family unit and destroy like the Mysticons? I don't.
It's not clear. Maybe she's trying to make them like her. I think it's a similar thing we did with Dreadbane in season 1. We don't know what he's doing. He's building this thing. We eventually learn he's trying to free Necralpha. Kind of similar, like constructing something, some sort of getting to some point. I think the difference is Dreadbane was just a comedic character mostly, so like it didn't really matter. Whereas Proxima doesn't have that sort of appealing element to her.
No.
I don't know why I'm supposed to care about, like, I guess because we liked her before, but I don't feel like that's anchored as well as we thought it would be. I liked Proxima in season 2, but, you know, now she's just the mask. I don't know. Yeah.
Well, and I think, you know, I feel bad because I've been pretty consistent. Like, I liked Proxima and then she turned evil and, you know, I continue to say, you know, her reason for being evil just isn't solid enough for me. Like, I understand that she feels, I guess, like she was abandoned, but she wasn't. And so she just continues on that, like, oh, they try and make you feel like you fit in. And it's like, you, at no point did you not fit in. Like, so all of your like angst is so like self-contained and you're just projecting it for like, I want to say no reason, but that's really harsh. But it's kind of true in my opinion because they even like after, you know, she, I guess, revealed that she was evil, they were still, you know, the Mysticons were still like, you know, you don't have to do this, like, come be with us. And that's the same thing that they did with Eartha. You know, they were like, it doesn't have to be this way, like, you can come be good with us and we'll accept you and you'll be a part of our family. So it's just, I still don't understand where she's getting all of this, you know?
Yeah. Yeah, I don't either, and we've gone over this before, but it's still
we continue to go over it because it just doesn't make sense.
Still doesn't feel solid to me. But yeah, in terms of like what she's making, that is taking us towards the end game, I assume, of the show. And that's very interesting. Like, where are we ultimately going? Only 5 episodes left. Like, she's building the symbol that we've associated the symbol with Necralpha before, and I think the main plot thing that has not been resolved from the show. And I think that it is, it's like jarring because most things kind of, you have some sort of resolution to them. But in Mutiny Most Foul, at the end, the Moon Boon Pirate episode, we get the symbol flashing with the pyramid or whatever it was in the monument. And it's like, ooh, some sort of ancient magic. So that still like hasn't been really addressed. And I like rather than phrasing this as the Necralpha symbol, I think it's more of the spectral hand symbol. Like, I feel like probably where we're going is the spectral hand is some sort of ancient magic.
It's just been so associated with Necralpha that's all that we can know it as.
Well, that's why I'm calling it the Necralpha symbols, because that's what the show has presented to us so far. We haven't gotten that moment where it's been like, okay, it's more than Necralpha. Except the existence of the mask implies that, like, Necralpha was corrupted, but we still haven't, like, seen that she was someone else before that. It hasn't came together yet, so I'm definitely waiting for that. Like, if Necralpha was someone else and the mask existed long before her, which we don't know yet, then this would be like some seat of ancient magic would be the spectral hand, and that's what she's constructing. Like, and so what's that going to do? Is that going to bring about the ultimate ancient evil? That would be very interesting. How does this relate to dragons, which is another big outstanding plot thing? I guess that's the other one, is the dragons thing recently.
I think it would just be nice if everything could like all get tied and wrapped together. Within these last 5 episodes, but like the part of like, potentially having Necrofa, as a person before, I guess, the evil magic or whatever, corrupted her. I feel like we're just not going to get that. Like,
doesn't seem like there's enough time. Yeah.
No, it's one of those things too where I feel like we're so far removed from like the Necrofa like storyline that going back to it would just be like, it would be almost pointless and it would seem very out of place. Like it would tie in, but at this point I would probably just be like, oh, you're just throwing it in there like for whatever reason kind of thing versus like, I guess, hashing it out in a different way.
Yeah, it's been a while, and there hasn't been that sort of connection throughout. Like, we've been very focused just on Proxima and the Vexicons for a while. In general, we don't need to get into this again. In general, I haven't found Proxima and the Vexicons to be a big enough thing to anchor the season down. I don't think that they're that interesting. I mean, like, I like the Vexicons, but they're not like a main element to kind of connect the season throughout. So I've really just been in limbo for 10 episodes of just waiting for us to get to something kind of better.
Like, what are we doing? Like, what's endgame here?
And we will be, because, I fully believe the Spectral Hand thing, Ancient Magic, and Dragons will all tie in together. My pitch for including the Necrofa backstory would be when we reveal that this mask is, like, the way to show that this is an ancient evil is to show originally Necrofa being corrupted. Maybe we run into human Necrofa, and then we get her like quick backstory on it, and that's the way that we know that this is deeper than Necrofa. I think
that would be the best way to work into it. And what's, I guess, like the only reason why I don't completely dismiss the idea too is also because the show has in the past succeeded with moving things along very quickly, within just a couple of episodes, but without it feeling exhausting at the same time. And so I can see them still working in the Necrofa thing and doing it in a successful way. Though if we take an entire episode to just explore, that whole, that backstory, then I might be like, okay, this is out of place.
Yeah. I don't think it would be a whole episode, but I think there's a way to work it in where it's just a component of a larger story. I actually do have full confidence that we're going to explore all the things we talked about. Maybe I'm not like sold that we're doing human Necrofa. But in terms of like working in the Spectral Hand and Dragons, like clearly we're going to do both of those things. So very excited.
We have to.
Excited to get into that in the last 5 episodes. Okay. Quickly going over the things from this episode we didn't talk about, then we'll talk about next week. We start the episode with fighting the Vexicons in the Undercity. This is one of those episodes that starts with a fight scene, like episode 10. That one of the Earth King episode of Avatar. It's like always an interesting structure for starting an episode. Here, you get why they do it here, because we got to get
got to set up the rest of it.
Yeah. We bring back in M's night voice. Yeah, that's before last episode. We talked about it in last week, but before that, it had been a while since we did night voice. But we're going hard into night voice again here. I'm fine with that.
I liked it too.
Diva's bad. I like Piper saying it's yuppity yup. I liked that from Piper, and Mallory's frosted tips. And
then I like that she just grows her hair back.
That was really good. Yeah. Best line of the episode we haven't talked about it yet. My favorite line of the entire episode. Tasma, when they get back to the stronghold, says, "Gosh, another prisoner? You're gonna need a bigger snow globe." I think it might be the best Tasma snow globe line of the show so far.
I thought Tasma was really great in this episode.
She's also trying to convince them that Eartha's not going to be good, and she was right. So I feel like we should trust Tasma now.
Yes, Tasma's on our side if she doesn't know it, but
also, what do we get? We also need to get into Tasma in the last 5 episodes.
No. Do you think we'll get into Tasma? Because I don't know.
I'm fairly confident she's not going to end the series in a snow globe. Also, we got to debone the parents too. Those are the 2 things we've been putting off for a while.
We need to make like a grocery list of what we want from these last 5 episodes.
Yeah, I think all that's happening. But yeah, Tasma.
It's a long list.
It's a long list. We'll see what we do with that. So that was a great line, though. We have Piper says she'll die of a broken heart. Sad face emoji. Zarya says, happy face emoji.
Right.
Okay, Zarya. Yeah, that's great. More emoji talk. Let's do that.
Don't we get 2 sad face emojis in this episode too?
I don't know. I feel like we'll see if it's on as we go through. But yeah, that was bringing back the sad face emoji, the classic Piper line. One of my other favorite moments of the episode, when we ring the doorbell to M's home, her mom says, "I told you, I've already got a description to the Daily Hammer," and she has a hammer.
And she she comes to the door with a hammer. Yeah. I was like, "What are you gonna do? Beat them?"
No, I believe you that you have the Daily Hammer subscription. I do.
Okay, is the Daily Hammer an actual hammer that you receive in the mail every day, or is it like a magazine or a newspaper?
Right, so it could be a hammer that you, like a Netflix based service. I don't think that analogy works anymore. We're talking about Netflix, like you get a thing at your house, like that old 10 years ago, like that with subscription service to an actual hammer. It could be like a catalog of hammers that you pick out in a magazine, or it just could be a newspaper called the Daily Hammer. Like it could be their newspaper.
It could have been any one of those things.
Yeah, I don't know which one it is, but I'm choosing to believe it's just the hammer because she
goes to the door with
it's very
the hammer.
literal. Yeah,
she's like, "Look, I already got today's hammer."
Yeah, exactly. That's the way I interpreted it. Yeah, that's great. By the way, we're post identity reveal territory.
That's
here.
right, and her brothers are asking her to change.
Yeah, go Mysticon, and I guess it's also relevant in the climax because they're Mysticons and everyone recognizes them. But for the most part, it's been not a big deal that everyone knows who they are. Everyone's
just super chill about it. They're like, "Oh yeah," and they're just like, what is it? Because wasn't it last episode too? They were just like walking around, but yet everyone knew they were Mysticons, and so they were just changing in public and stuff like that. Like,
yeah. It's almost like we could have done this 20 episodes ago and it wouldn't have mattered. Like,
weird.
It's almost like superhero secret identity stuff is stupid. Okay, anyway, we're just frustrated from we're frustrated from Miraculous Ladybug. That's okay. We got Vexicons. Mallory's very into Drake City's Got Talent.
Yes.
Yeah.
I liked the what is it? You wrote it down and I did too. The Mage Please.
Mage Please, yeah. Like, okay. But later about the Drake City's Got Talent, they hope the mean judge is extra mean. That's what the bad guys say. And
I want to get back before the elimination round.
Yeah, the elimination round, yeah. And then Kasha likes when things get catty. Yeah, okay. Yeah,
okay,
Kasha. Kasha also apparently is the teacher's pet because she like instantly revealed to Proxima what was going on.
I know, she was just like, "What? We don't know what happened to her. We left her." Like,
yeah, Proxima's like Kasha. Yeah, like so that was an interesting backstory for her. Oh, we had the montage of them making the new heart to the theme song.
I thought that was a good use of the theme song. So. Yeah. I liked it. We also didn't get a transformation sequence, so
yay! Yeah, I feel like it's been a while. We didn't do one last episode, did we?
No, we didn't.
We've definitely cut down, but we haven't cut down on the use of the theme song, and that's because it's great. That's
because it's amazing.
Yeah, so let's even more theme song. No, but we're fine. But yeah, we had the parents come down, and we're like hiding from them. And we put the blanket, and Arcana's pretending to be snoring. Yeah. And then like Piper wanted pancakes.
Same. Because M decided waffles. But also I think it's funny that Piper's upset that they're getting pancakes when Piper and Zarya aren't even quote unquote there. Like,
wait, are they?
No, because they weren't at dinner with the family, and they were just like. They were hiding outside, and then that was the other thing that, like, I was like, why wouldn't
I didn't
they
track
just,
that, yeah.
Why wouldn't they just show up with, like, Piper and Zarya, too? Because even her mom's just like, oh, like, whenever again, okay, so I was confused by this, too, because at dinner, her mom was like, oh, yeah, like, you guys, like, staying up late and talking about boys like you used to, and I was like, wait, I thought they didn't grow up together. I'm so confused.
Oh yeah, had Arcana visited Em at her hometown before episode 6?
I don't know. No, because her mom makes a big deal about her showing up with the princess
being yeah. Okay,
so,
maybe I guess we're talking about Em with a friend in general.
Maybe, I guess. But she made it seem very like, oh, I remember when you two youngins were growing up, kind of thing. So
yeah, it did come across like that. Yeah.
Also, I was very distracted during that whole dinner scene because they actually had the noises of like knives and forks sliding on plates, and I just was like grinding my teeth the entire time.
That's nails on a chalkboard equivalent. Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. Triggering. Triggering sounds.
Very triggering.
We're bringing Eartha to the mill. And Eartha wants to be evil, and they're like, "Oh, they abandon you," and and then at the mill, M's very much another component we can get into. M's very much about you decide. You have to decide whether you can be good.
Well, and I think there's like a moment where Eartha is also talking about how she's just like, "But I don't want to be like a goody goody." Like she's like, "I want to be bad, and I want to be with my sisters," and then they're just like, yeah, but your sisters like abandoned you. And then M's very much like, it's your choice. Like you choose.
Yeah, which I liked. I think that's another component of her empathy is like giving agency to people she empathizes with. I think that's a big part. The other part of the I feel like they conveyed the like racism against golems very well by this part where they're attacking Eartha. Like she deflects it, and then like things come down, and then they're like, the golem's bringing down the whole mine.
No, I got so mad. I was like, no, the mine is coming down because you're attacking the golem. Like you stop that.
That was a good portrayal of that. Like that's how it works.
Well, and then what was the other? I also got really annoyed because like it's very obvious that like M and like all of the Mysticons are trying to protect Eartha, but at no point does M's parents say, "Stop! That's my daughter!" Like they're just like, "Yeah, just keep attacking her."
Yeah, it seemed more concerned with the brothers, but I guess we trust M to take care of herself.
Well, we know who the favorite of the family is.
Those devil twins, yeah. Apparently they're the favorite. Ultimately, Mallory lies to Eartha, and that's what gets her to go back with them.
Mallory, I thought she was terrible in this episode, but like I thought it was really like well done how she like sort of manipulated Eartha into coming back with them, and like. It's interesting because, like, even though she's like a very sarcastic character, like you could even like feel the sarcasm and like the lies in some of the lines that she delivered, and so I thought that was like really well done on like the voice actress's part. I really enjoyed that.
Yeah, it does come across really well of her like manipulative. Like it's very fast that I guess she gets convinced to go back with the Vexcons, but I guess at the same time she was never really with them in the first place or whatever.
Yeah.
So Mallory does come across as very manipulative, and that scene was I guess it was good. At first I was like, oh, like what? Well, she's going back with them. It's kind of fast, but she was never really committed in the first place.
Yeah, she was like half committed.
She really just wanted her sisters back, and Mallory played into that. Yeah. I still love you, Mallory, though, because you're even though you're terrible, she was also great this episode.
Well, there's even like a moment where she's just texting, like, "Oh, Mallory."
She's always texting. Yeah, glyphing. Yep. Glyphing. Yeah. Okay, I think that's all I had for. We already talked about the ending stuff too. Anything else, April?
We got It's Magic Hour, and then we also got Quicker Than a Flicker.
When did we get It's Magic Hour?
At the beginning.
Like right away?
Yes. Like, not right away, but it was...
Which scene? When we were fighting them in the Undercity?
Yeah, when they were fighting them in the Undercity, and it was just before... it was whenever they were just about to use their special powers and, like, blast the Vexicons. And they're like...
classic use.
Yeah. It was very classic. I liked it.
Okay. I'm glad we need to track every It's Magic Hour utterance. Yeah.
We don't get it every episode, so it makes me sad.
Need it more.
Oh, also, I noticed that Willow doesn't have a flying horse.
Yeah, she can fly already. She doesn't need it.
But then I was also very disturbed that all of the flying horse had teeth. Like,
they had teeth. Ooh, I missed that.
Because there's like the one scene whenever like the rubble like forms the arrow downward, and there's like a close up on Mallory on the horse, and the horse had teeth, and I was like, why does the horse have teeth? Like what? It was kind of creepy.
I'll go look for that. Yeah, we need more backstory into the Vexicon steeds. Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. Yes. All for Artist Stone. Thumbs up on the episode. Yep.
Yep. Thumbs up.
Thumbs up. Next week we have Monster Hunt. Piper feels like her friendship with Zarya is slipping away, so she hatches a scheme to fake a monster attack to get her attention.
Oh, sweet Piper.
Classic Piper.
Sweet Piper.
But this means it's a Piper episode.
Hopefully it's like a good Piper episode.
We're desperate for Piper backstory.
We're so desperate. Even like the one Piper backstory episode we got, it wasn't like too in depth or anything like that.
Like we learned how she got to Zarya, but there's 100 years of her life before that.
Yeah.
We didn't know what happened. I mean, we also know she was in the circus from 11, but other than that, we don't know anything.
Nope.
So, let's go. Also, the circus is like we need to delve into that. You can't just bring that up and then never get back to it.
Like, let's explore the circus with Piper.
Yeah. We're at who's Piper's family. Like, where's all of that? I'm not convinced we're going to get it from that description, but you never know.
We're not going to get it, but I would also really enjoy an episode where the circus that Piper was a part of comes to town. And then all of the Mysticons want to go to the circus, but Piper does not want to go to the circus.
Yeah, she's like, oh no. But then they go and they're like, oh, Piper. Yeah. Okay. I can say that seemed very plausible for an episode.
Yep. We're not going to get it. It's fine.
sad face emoji. But we'll see what we get with Monster Hunt. We're down the home stretch here. 5 episodes. The week after Monster Hunt, Princess and the Pirate. Oh man. That title. We don't have a description yet. Probably tomorrow. But yeah, it's going to be... we're getting into the thick of it here. We're definitely gonna be weekly until the finale, which will be in September if we stay on track here. And yeah, 5 episodes.
5 episodes, and then this is it.
Unfortunately.
Yeah, it's so sad. It's such a great show.
Yeah, tweet at Netflix hashtag Justice for Chaco. Yeah, and that's the campaign. That's the campaign we started. We were previously tweeting that at Nick, but that doesn't seem like that's happening. So
Nick doesn't care.
We have to change course to Netflix here. I don't know if we actually should start that campaign. Probably not going to do anything, but that would be the way to go. Okay, so. That's it. Let us know what you thought of Heart of Stone. Comments at overlyanimated.com on the YouTube video, overlyanimated.com/YouTube. And check out our other stuff at overlyanimated.com. It's Voltron weekend, and we're having 2 podcasts on Voltron season 7. We did a 2-hour podcast yesterday on all of season 7. There's a lot to talk about. A lot of Voltron stuff. You can.
I heard there's fighting.
We weren't fighting with each other. We were fighting the show. Yeah, that's yelling at the show. Join us on Discord to text chat about animation. This is the place to be for Mysticons at overlyanimated.com/Discord. Support us via Patreon, patreon.com/overlyanimated. Thank you very much to all of our current patrons, especially our patron of the podcast, Shin, aka Shingeki no Kyojin. And thanks as always to our patron executive producers, John, Ryan, Steve, Alex, and Hugh. Yes, we'll be back next week to talk more Mysticons, Voltron, no Miraculous Ladybug since they pulled the August episode script.
Can't believe them.
Not happening. So we'll see what else we're getting into. But check all that out, and we will see you next time, guys. Bye.
Bye.